What's up? I'm Vault Boy, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
What's up, Vault Boy? Congratulations with the new remix for your single "Everything Sucks." And this time around, you got to bring in Eric Nam, another incredible artist. So take me into the studio and what is that creative process between the two of you, and how much of a difference did you feel the song needed to be changed or reworked now that you had Eric on board?
hmm Well, first off, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. And yeah, it's crazy. I'm super happy to have him on it, and the studio was fun. It was really fun. We had a good time. We didn't. I didn't. In terms of like the changing up different parts, like we didn't change up a whole lot in terms of like the lyrics. We changed one little part and changed the ending a little bit, as people have probably already heard. But I think a lot of it was like the way I wrote the song kind of captures it really well. So it was like, if we pull someone onto this, how do we make it unique to them, but like still like keep it in the same ballpark? And he's just like great. He's just so great to work with. He killed it. And yeah, the studio was so fun. It was so fun.
The way that he came into the song with his vocals, do you feel like it impacted you, like the idea of the song at all, or maybe like new ideas for new music?
uh, it was really cool because this is like my first collab. So getting to hear somebody else sing the song that I wrote, that like I'm used to just hearing. I mean, I'm used to hearing people. I guess I've heard a lot of people cover it, but like on like the actual song, hearing somebody
Mm.
else was really special, and it definitely did give me like a little bit of a different perspective on what sorry on what like on what the song is to other people, I guess
Mm.
is what I'm trying to say. And so getting to hear, yeah, especially him too. Like I said, I'm a fan of him. He's a great dude, and he's great to work with. So hearing him sing the song was like kind of opened my collaboration brain, I think, as an artist with other artists, just because again, it's the first time. So it was yeah, it was eye opening. It was eye opening.
Now, for you personally, what was it about Eric that you felt like he was the right fit for this remix?
So I met him getting to I was fortunate enough to co-write a song that he did with Sarah Barrios called Have We Met Before?
Mm.
And yeah, I just loved getting to be a part of that. And then I got to fly out to LA and play the piano for the live video they shot for it. So I got to meet him there as well. And yeah, he's a great dude. And I think knowing his music, knowing his personality, I think it was just like a the easiest decision to make, and I'm happy he said yes. But like for me, it was the easiest decision to make.
Now, since you kind of mentioned Sarah right now, I ended up looking her up and listening to her music, and now you've made me a fan of her music. And like for you as a songwriter, being able to collaborate with other artists and then coming into your own music the way that you did with Everything Sucks, how do you switch? How do you switch like the hats when it's like from songwriter to you being the actual artist?
Yeah, good question. It's kind of a weird mental thing, like to write a song that you aren't intending to be the artist for.
Mm.
And I guess it's like probably less of a weird thing for people who, because there's a lot of songwriters who aren't artists themselves. Like they don't put out music by themselves. They just write for other people. And for a while before I started vaultboy, I had considered trying to maybe take that route, because I've been doing like music on and off for most of my life. But yeah, getting to write with her, and that was my first cut too. So like Eric on my first cut, and he's on my first collaboration. It's funny.
Amazing.
But getting to write for somebody else is really special, because you get to take away this like this mental thing where everything has to be correct in your own brain to
Mm.
like be authentic to you. So if I'm writing a song, there will be a line that's sick, but I'm like, it's just not me though. You know what I mean? As a songwriter, it's great, but as an artist, that's not something that Vault Boy would say or like sing.
Mm.
So it's and getting to like take that off and just be like, that's a dope line, what do you think about it, and just cater to the artist's vision for everything is really a dope experience to do. I love it. Yeah, it's an interesting, because it is a different hat when you're in the session and when you're writing something, but
Right.
it's really cool. Yeah.
The fact that you are both, I feel like writing music sometimes can be so personal that you might be writing for another artist, but like that whatever lyric you wrote might just be too close to you or too personal to you. How do you not end up keeping it for yourself? Like, are you very particular on what you write about when you're working with other people and what you write about when you're working on yourself?
That's a great question. That's great. I love it. Well, it's really funny because the when I was like thinking about just maybe writing for other people for a while, before I started Vault Boy, I was writing a bunch of songs and I wrote one, and then that song was like, I don't want someone else to sing this. I think I do, and that's why I decided to start Vault Boy.
Yeah.
Um, and that was yeah. So like that's totally a fair question. So so basically, I think that when I'm in a session writing for somebody else, I'm really empathetic. So I try and put
Mm.
myself into like their perspective as much as possible. And even if I'm like, even if I'm drawing from some of my life experience to like help get their song to a place that is like real and authentic to them and tell their story. I think it definitely, because like when you're writing songs with people, it's really collaborative. So like you're writing a song for somebody else, maybe about, let's say, a breakup, but your breakup comes up, and that's like a way that you can relate and like to the song and kind of help put input. But I think what that does for me, at least, is it helps me more emotionally get into the perspective of the other person, more so than it does make me feel like I need to make the story about my stuff, if that makes sense. I hope that
Yeah.
was it was a good
No,
question.
it does. Thank you. Thank you. Now, as you move forward to your own material, were you comfortable just opening up to your audience the way that you did? Like, I know this song is has a sarcastic kind of tone to it, but you're still somewhat being vulnerable at the same time. So, was that something that was natural for you to just open up and talk about? Or is that why the song was sarcastic? Because you're still kind of getting your feet wet into vulnerability with your music?
Yeah. Everything Sucks was a really interesting song at first for me to like come to terms with releasing, because originally like I had like a couple other songs kind of in mind for the first song, and then it blew up on TikTok and it just continued to blow up everywhere I posted it. So it was like a no-brainer to finish it. And then when I finished it and I was really happy with it, I was like, all right, we're putting this out 100%. And the thing is it's such a, I feel like that song is so is very different than a lot of the songs I write, like other songs I
Wow.
write. But
Okay.
what's really cool about it is I feel like it's probably one of the best songs to describe my personality. I think when people hear that song, they just think they're hearing like a, I don't know, kind of a little bit of a funny song, kind of serious, kind of nostalgic sounding or something. But like I'm just like, that's just me. That's just like how I am. I'm just like that all the time. So yeah, it was different from my other stuff, but I feel really connected to it because I feel like matches a lot of my like sarcastic but also like hopeful personality.
Right. Now, dive me into the production process and the writing process of the original version of the song, because you also collaborated with Nash, who is very, very transparent with his lyrics as well. So, how was that collaboration like between the two of you, and what did you feel like you learned from his writing process?
Yeah, great question. Well, to just real quick touch on the production stuff, I did that right here. I was sitting right here. I'm in my home studio. Um,
Nice.
that all happened here. And but before that, working with him was great. He reached out like on Instagram and was just like, "Yo, a friend of mine showed me one of your songs." I was like, let's work together." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" I was like, I was already a fan of his music, so it was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm down." And it was great. I think we so many of my songs go through so many stages, and did the same thing. Me and him had written like. We went through the process of writing like a whole version of the song, and then I wasn't quite happy with it. Um, Not to his fault, to mine. I was kind of leading that, but regardless, then I ended up changing some stuff. The song just evolved to get to where it is, and then
Mm.
which I think was one thing that he was really open with me about. He was like, "This is your song, this is your vision," and people like that little snippet on TikTok, and they're gonna like the rest of the song for the same reason because it's you. So
Yeah.
his perspective was mostly trying to like keep safe the integrity of the song because it's me and it's my song and I'm the only one who really knows exactly what that's going to look like. So
Mhm.
like as the song shift, as we tried to write like one version and then going with another and like using different parts from the first version, it was like it was a really seamless process. Yeah, he was very helpful. He made me feel more comfortable about it. I get so in my head. I'm a creative, and just, you get in your head. You do something, you don't know if you like it. You keep doing things, you don't know if you like them until eventually you give up and you just put something out.
What kind of impact did you feel the success on TikTok had for you to finalize that song? Because if you were already like having questions or doubts about it, and then you still had, so many revisions of the song before we hear what we hear today. So like, did you find yourself having to like rush to finish the song, or were you still calm and collected as you were trying to finish it?
God, these are good questions. I've never not felt like I was rushing to finish anything. Everything feels like it should take 3 years. Everything just takes time. Like it's just details, and I still feel like as a producer and like I have a lot to learn and I'm still growing. And so that's, yeah, I definitely was. It would have come out sooner if I had finished it sooner. It took time. It was unfortunate that it took time, but it just did. I think you know it sucks because music is fun and music is like most people, the way you consume music is really fast, but like the process usually takes a long time. And if you're as much of a perfectionist as I am, it takes maybe a little longer sometimes. But that's how, I get something that I feel really happy about and passionate about. It makes me feel something the way I want other people to feel things. And yeah, so it was definitely a little bit, it wasn't rushed, but it definitely was like all hands on deck. Let's go. I got to get this done. You know what I mean?
Since you're still relatively new in being the artist, and I'm sure you're still trying to discover or you're still going through your artist development process. When writing this song, how did you figure out the pockets and the cadence for these lyrics?
Yeah, I don't know. I wrote, so I wrote it in the shower. I wrote a lot of it in the shower. So the original TikTok part I wrote in the shower. Like I said, I got together with Nash after that. We wrote a bunch. And then I said we changed the song. So then I ended up writing the hook after the version we had written. And then that I wrote in the shower. It was a different shower. I don't know. I literally, so I didn't have a beat or anything to listen to each time. And I was just like getting my vibe. I was like, when I originally wrote the first verse, it was like doo-woppy in my head. And it kind of is a little bit, but it was like, everything sucks.
With the dance and everything too, right?
Like if somebody made like a 50s like doo-wop version of the song, I would be the happiest person alive. I should just do it, to be honest. But yeah,
just make it happen.
yeah. But I don't know. I just like I sang what came natural, like specifically the first verse, because that's the first part I wrote. I wrote that really fast. I wrote it because someone on TikTok was like, write a happy song, and I was like, okay, great. And I was like, everything sucks. Just kidding. And I wish I could say that I had more intelligence put behind that than other things, but the truth is there was less. I feel like it just worked out. Sometimes things just happen, I guess.
When did the melody start to happen? Did you feel like the melody created itself, or did you feel like you went through this process?
It was all at once. It was literally like I remember I have a voice memo from getting out of the shower and then like voice memoing it immediately so I didn't forget it. And it was literally, I think maybe there's a line or two I didn't have, but for the most part, I knew everywhere the song went. I knew like about the X, I knew about going outside, I knew about exercising, like all of it. Like it was like, everything sucks. Just kidding. Everything is great. No, really. I was probably way more sarcastic in the shower because I was like frustrated that I had to write a happy song. But yeah, it all happened at once. Yeah. It's really special for me to think about it, how it happened and like what it's become now. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's crazy to me. It's so crazy.
Now, the fact that you produced this yourself, talk to me a little bit about the sonics and just creating these sounds that we hear on this record, just because it's not just one single sound that we hear. There's so many different layers of tones in music. And so I'm curious if like you actually ended up recreating stuff from scratch, like stuff that you don't even use in a normal studio setting.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed producing it, and it took time to kind of hone in, but it came together well. I had a couple people like helping me a little bit. So I was doing the bulk of it right here. And then I had a couple friends who were like sending me synths or like hi-hats or things that they thought would sound good over it. And I would like try them all out and stuff like that. And it was great because I had like some people to like kind of backboard against like all my like random ideas, because I'll just have crazy ideas for production that never work. It's just you just have to try them. But yeah, I think so the first verse, I changed a tiny bit in the percussion. There's a little percussion in there. It's different than the original TikTok. Otherwise, it's the same. It's the same vocal. It's the same synth. It's the same bass things. The same mellotron in the sample in the back. Same snaps. I didn't want to change that because that's what people liked. I was like, okay, that's what people like. It doesn't matter if I feel like I didn't spend enough time making it. It's worked. You know what I mean? So I wanted to keep that integrity, but also really take the song to a completely different place. And I like to think of like the choruses as like my happy place. So like the verses are like a grim, like kind of painted reality. And then the choruses are like, I want to be okay. And it's like my happy place, go to the arcade or something. You know what I mean? And so, and when I think about that, in like arcades and stuff, like my happy place, and I'm a big like video game guy and I love arcades. I went to Japan and got to go to a bunch of their arcades. I grew up going to arcades here. Just one of the things I love. So when I think about that stuff, I'm like, I get super nostalgic because I'm thinking back to all the times that I got to go, especially during like where none of the arcades that I could go to are open. So it was, so I wanted it to have this like feeling of nostalgia to come over it. And I really think I pushed that hardest in the very last chorus where all the drums drop out and it's just like a group of people singing the chorus. It's like 30 of me, but it's, you know, it's a group of people. And I don't know. Other than that, I tried to blend some of that like trap, like pop drum vibe with some of those like a mellotron. Like, I don't know. I like mellotrons, like some older vintage synths and stuff like that as well. So yeah, that's the gist. That's a scatterbrain question for me. I don't know. There's so many things I guess.
Well, that's what I mean, when you listen to it, that's what I would assume that's what your answer would be, just because I don't feel, like I said, I don't feel like there's just one set of instruments. I feel like there's so many different things making up this track. Now, as far as like the synths go, I don't know if it was because of the version that I'm listening to or not, but like when I'm listening to the remix with Eric, I feel like the synths are a little more, they're a little louder. They're like, I pay attention to them a little bit more. Was there a difference in that, or is it just me tripping?
You might be tripping. I don't know, but I'm glad you hear them more because I like them a lot. So, so whether or not they're louder, I'm happy that you're hearing them more. Yeah.
Now, lastly, to close us off, at the end of this remix with Eric, you guys have this little banter towards the last lines. I feel like that was just natural in the studio. I don't feel like that was rehearsed. Like, what was that process like?
Oh, that was so fun to make those. Okay, I have like 5 minutes of us just like in the studio, like in the booth together, both just like saying, "Just kidding." It's like just being ourselves and just like goofing off a little bit. But that's what I wanted. I mean, that's what he wanted to. Like, we wanted it to just feel like good and feel like real, because the original one is like me like laughing and saying just kidding, but I actually had a friend. He was sitting on the couch. There's a couch behind me. He was sitting on the couch behind me, and he was laughing at me because I'm sitting there on voice memo on my phone. I'm like, just kidding. And he's just like laughing at me because it's funny. But that's essentially what happened like with Eric. But then I don't know, he just said like he was like he said just kidding over me, and I was like, hey. And it was just like he just started like, he got a little funny with it, and I was like, let's lean into that. I was like, let's keep doing that. And then yeah, it just worked out. I don't know, I really love the ending. I really love it. It's so wholesome, to hear it.
As you move on to more music, you kind of mentioned that this is different from the other stuff that you've worked on. How much of a difference is it, and do you feel like we might be hearing something similar to this track at all, or was this like a one and done kind of thing?
No, great question as well, man. These are great questions. I'm having to really use my brain in some ways. Yeah. So yeah, I've written songs about so many different things, and like with so many different energy levels, and but I definitely think that people aren't going to hear other songs and be like, oh, that's a different person. I think it's just going to be like, that's the same guy. He's just not as simple maybe as Everything Sucks made us think he was. Maybe
Okay.
that's probably my answer. So like the
Okay.
next song, and I won't talk too much about it, but it's a little more sad. It's a little more sad and down tempo. But I think with the production and stuff, I try and keep a lot of that like nostalgic feeling, production, like as like a lot of the sonic identity of it. You know what I mean? I think I just have a specific sound that I have in my head, and once there's a lot more songs out, I think it'll be easier to see it over the grand scheme. You know what I mean?
Amazing, dude. Well, congratulations with the success of this track, and I'm looking forward to more music from you. And lastly, to close us off, because you keep mentioning nostalgic, you have this like slight resemblance of Ryan Key from Yellow Card. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but
what's so funny is he's from here, Jacksonville,
yeah,
Florida, where
right.
I live, and I grew up listening to them. Yeah, big Yellow Card fan. I've seen him live.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's great. I love that.
I was hoping you wouldn't be like, who's Yellow Card? Because I like, man.
No. They're one of Jacksonville's like one of our prides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we got to have Jacksonville. A bunch of the members of Yellow Card went to the high school I went to. It was like an art school in town.
Yeah, right. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe one time you can get Ryan to collaborate, and then we'll have to figure out who's who.
I would love that. He came in. I used to work at Starbucks, and he came into my Starbucks one day, and I got his autograph from my friend who's like a giant Yellow Card fan. But he was really nice. I would love to work with him one day. Great.
Well, let's make it happen, dude.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for taking the time. Congratulations, and looking forward to catching up with you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Great interview. I love the questions.